since the beginning of the 21st century, Georgia, I would say, made a remarkable recovery in terms of the demographic situation, and specifically in terms of the fertility rate. And this has been remarkable in the sense that this happened in the conditions of increased prevalence of contraception and a strong decline in the induced abortion rate. And that's why the policy, demographic policy that was adopted, comprehensive demographic policy that was adopted by the Parliament of Georgia in 2016, recognizes the fact that the fertility rate and demographic security in general is not just supporting the birth and the increased birth rate in the country. The most importantly, it is the issue that the child should be supported for the entire life cycle from birth to adulthood until it becomes the active and productive member of society. Because I mean, European experience clearly shows that sharing the unpaid care time between parents is one of the key components for increased fertility, and it really enables families to realize their intended fertility rates, which in Georgia, for example, is 2.4. And we, as a government, as a country, should support, as a responsible government, should support the family-friendly policies to remove any barriers for reaching the intended fertility rates for the families.
And policies are shifting in their orientation, not everywhere, but in many countries, the policymakers now clearly recognize that when women are getting higher education, and this is perhaps the biggest shift in gender inequalities, we now have a gender inequality in lower percentage of men achieving university education all across Europe. So women have kind of surpassed men in being able to graduate from universities in much higher numbers in most countries than men are. And that clearly means they have plans for their lives. They have aspirations. They don't want to stay at home as mothers forever. And the governments are starting recognizing that and tailoring policies for these women and couples to achieve their aspirations and to give them the flexibility to plan their lives and have children under the circumstances and conditions, if they want to have children, which they prefer, not in the way the government would like them to have them.
Talking about social norms, we can see that there is huge progress during the last 25 years. Voice of women are more heard when the economic voice of women are heard. So the economic empowerment of women is crucial for us to really start to have a stronger position in society for female part of society. And if we look at the figures, we can see still that there is a big gap between the economic activity of men and women in Armenia, and I think that this is somehow a more general situation in the region. And for this purpose, we need also another thing, not only to change the role models, which is of course crucial, but I'll talk about another aspect, is to establish a comprehensive system of childcare, which is great support and assistance to families, because unfortunately the economic situation in our countries is the one that requires the two breadwinners model to be adopted by families, which means that we have a situation when two parents should work to have some medium level of income, and it means that this childcare system is crucial to be established in the system and to be available in all the regions. And I think that this is one of the ways that could bring some positive impact on the situation.
The data show that there is progress towards legal gender equality and protection of women's rights in Eastern Europe. Many countries improved national gender equality legal frameworks, criminalized violence against women, removed restrictions on women's work, reducing the likelihood that women are kept out of working in the certain sectors of economy. We know that achieving gender equality requires more than just changes to laws. The laws need to be meaningfully implemented, and this requires sustained political will, leadership from women and men across societies, and changes to ingrained cultural norms and attitudes.
I think it's an interesting time now because we have a very mixed bag of experiences across the region, with some countries clearly implementing new rack of policies which are rights-based and which really try to take into account the needs of families in the 21st century. And I think the Georgian experience goes very much, or effort goes very much in that direction. We have other examples of countries which are doing excellent in their policies. I could name Estonia, for instance. But we do have also backlashes. Example of politicians and policymakers who see women as, one Japanese minister coined it, childbearing machines. And that will not work in the long term. This can achieve short-term increases in birth rates, but in the long term, kind of bribing women in a targeted way to have a second or a third birth is not working out because the government will run out of money. They will never have enough money to achieve. Children are so costly, you never get enough money to achieve these goals. It is instrumentalizing childbearing, and it's not going in the way which is more difficult, providing good conditions for parenthood and childbearing. But the examples which were given here, including the efforts to engage men, and this is something, this is really long term, that's super difficult. Even in the most developed Western European countries, men still do less household work. It's changing, but they still do less childcare and household work than women do. And there are still inequalities in this respect, but this is a start of something important. And maybe when we come here back to the region in 5 or 10 years, there will be great progress in this direction.